Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overdrive League. I am your play-by-play announcer, Aaron Pro Doggy Johnson. Joining me is Duckham Ruahi Davy. Ruahi, how are you feeling today, my good sir?
Oh, I'm feeling great. We're gonna have a wonderful day here on the Rift. The sun is shining and magic is a brewing.
Magic is definitely a brewing. We're gonna go ahead and give you guys bronze silver division action for the ODL. Getting our first best of three here between Monkeys in Training and the Land Sharks. As we get some of these picks or bands, I should say, start to come through. Ruahi, what's gonna be something early on in the season that you're really going to be looking for out of these teams? What I know everyone wants to get off to a good start, but how do these teams get off to a good start?
Well, it all comes down to gathering information. The first game is always test. You test the waters. You see what people are capable of. You see what their general strategies is they go for, and whether or not people are really on top of the ball. Now we are in a best of three, so regardless of whether you win or lose this game, you're not out of the woods yet. It always comes down to the next one, and the one after that if you manage to tie things up.
Absolutely. And I know we got to let everyone know out there, Monkeys in Training did go ahead and lose out on just about all of their bands, I believe, all but one band. And Land Sharks have all their band but one. So hard to keep up with that one, but just making sure so that's not any kind of technical difficulty that you see there on your screen. Land Sharks did go ahead, ban out the Pike, ban out the Kazakhs, and also ban out the Kane. Now I know Pike, I believe, got a boost, got a buff during this latest patch, 919 or 819, I should say. I know he got a kind of a nice little buff here. So maybe that's what going ahead Land Sharks were really looking for, taking away that champion there.
Oh, most definitely. Pike got a boost on his ultimate's damage, which increased his execute range, not by a huge amount, but by enough that you can definitely feel it later, early on in the fight, right? Followed by a Kazakhs ban. Kazakhs also got some pretty hefty buffs as well. The slow increase on his W, Vorpal's, his W, has been increased massively. It's almost as if it's a snare.
That's going to be ridiculous, especially once you get that damage that's going to be coming out, especially if the Kazakh is going to be isolated. So as you start to see some of these early picks come out, Land Sharks going ahead and picking up that misfortune for the bot lane as well as the Jax. Now Jax is a little bit of a flex. You can go into the junk, you can go into the top lane. So that's going to be something that we got to keep an eye on coming for the side of Land Sharks. But for Monkeys in Training, I like the Graves and on Tedusky, the jungler here. He's him on that Graves. I've seen him play it before. He's a pretty solid Graves player. So we're going to have to look and see what kind of early aggression we might see out of him coming out of the Monkeys in Training jungle. That Kaisa will go ahead and get locked in as well. And Riahi, you know that Kaisa is going to go ahead and have tons of damage when it gets to the late game.
Oh, absolutely. Kaisa has some of the strongest scaling in the game still. But when it comes to scaling, and we're looking at both sides of the team as we see the Twisted Fate locked in as well, uh, neither side is really losing out when it comes to scaling and or early game aggression. You have the Jax, who just scales into an absolute monster late game. You have the Graves, Kaisa, who become just super damage dealers. Swain becomes a pretty strong damage dealer and very tough to kill later on in the game. However, on Land Sharks, you have Misfortune, who can absolutely shred an entire enemy team all at once with just one well placed ultimate. Even if she gets just a little bit behind, unless you completely dumpster her, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with if you can't get on top of her. And unfortunately, when I'm looking at Monkeys in Training, all I see really is the Kaisa, who has the ability to jump on her. The Swain has the ability to pull her out of position, but the Kaisa is really the only one who's able to jump on her.
And that's going to be something we're going to have to look forward to, because if we can get some type of crazy engage coming in for the side of Land Sharks, maybe a 3 or 4 man counter strike coming in from that Jack's automatically going to set up Misfortune, and Warning Shots is going to be able to shred through Monkeys in Training. No warnings allowed here. But when you look at how these comps are starting to come together, Land Sharks will go ahead lock in that Braum. So Braum, Misfortune, kind of a strong bot lane in some senses, but in case that and as soon as I'm thinking about an AP support, Leona is hovered for Monkeys in Training. So if that Leona pick gets locked in, Ruahi, who do you give the advantage to in this situation? Kaisa, Leona, or to the MF Braum pick?
Well, initially, just due to pure aggression and how often that aggression can be applied. Leona is full on aggression. She wants to go in, she wants to start fights, and she has a lot of tools in her kit that allow her to do that. Whereas Braum, he can slow a person, but effectively he has to walk up to start a fight. Whereas Leona, she can Zenith Blade, she gets in, she can use her Solar Flare, she gets in. She has a lot more options available to starting a fight. However, when it comes to disengaging a fight, Braum, Misfortune have that edge. Braum can mitigate a lot of damage for both of them, not just himself, whereas Leona can only mitigate damage by CCing her opponent. She can only build resistances for herself, whereas Braum can give Misfortune a shield effectively if he positions well, and I think his dash gives resistances as well when he uses it on a champion.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that is, we have to touch on. If Leona doesn't get a very strong, early game, it's going to be tough for her to kind of bounce back in the late game. Braum definitely has the advantage there. But I have to bring your attention, Ruahi, really quickly to the Teemo in the top lane. Shiny Shadow Gear for Monkeys in Training will go ahead and lock in the little annoying Yordle for his team. Also will have that ignite. So that's looking like a pretty strong kill lane in the top lane if he can get going.
Well, that's a tough thing to call for a kill lane there. Teemo is very strong harass, but when it comes to killing his opponent, it usually revolves around running the opponent down. Now, when you're dealing with Shen, unless he's massively too far ahead, he still has his dash, he can get out. He still has his ways of dodging people's auto attacks. And Sharks in general, you have Jax who's able to dodge auto attacks, Shen who's able to dodge auto attacks for people in his circle, and Braum who's able to block auto attacks and projectiles. So there's a lot of damage mitigation. But when it comes to the laning phase for Shen versus Teemo, Shen has a lot of answers to the harassment that Teemo's going to be giving out, and all Shen has to do is play around those cooldowns.
Absolutely.
Something to note, though,
Yeah, go ahead.
going back to the bottom lane, our Braum here, Temerary 315, has over 100 games on Braum alone. And seems to sacrifice themselves for the team a lot. So definitely a team player.
Absolutely. And you look at to Marriere, I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure either. I'm kind of spitballing here, but when you have somebody with so many hours on that champion like that, you kind of build up not only a comfort level on the champion, but your teammates build a comfort level that they have with you on that champion. So you got to definitely pay attention to that. And for Land Sharks being able to have possibly a very solid, support down there in the bot lane. That's going to go a long way for them. But let's talk about win conditions really quickly. What are going to be the win conditions for each of these teams? Is it going to be Land Sharks getting Misfortune ahead and setting her up for some of those late game engages or late game team fight wins? Or is it going to be for the side of Monkeys in Training, really following what you can get out of this Graves pick and maybe even out of that late game Kaisa?
So when we're looking at either team, right? When you have, let's start with Monkeys in Training, right? You have the Graves, you have the Teemo, you have the Swain. These are champions that you're going to be wanting to really split push a lot. Team comp because they don't have any sort of team control. There are a lot of damage, there are a lot of safety, but they're supposed to be off on their own, pushing down towers, dealing damage, and just pressure on the map. Whereas for Land Sharks, you have the Jax, who's a strong split pusher, don't get me wrong, but also applies pretty good team fight. And you have the Twisted Fate. Now, here's something that can answer Monkey in Training's problem with the split pushing, is that he's able to apply that map pressure from half the map away. He's just able to be anywhere. And so if someone is split pushing and they send someone to answer, things are still going to be in their favor because of team comp for the team fight. So a 4v4 is not what they want. For Monkeys in Training want a 3v4. So that one person needs to pull two people. But if they pull Twisted Fate and someone else, Twisted Fate will be able to get back into the team fight almost immediately, or they can engage the 4v4 and then he can go over to the split push almost immediately afterwards to help out with that. For the win condition, Monkeys in Training needs to not do a 1-4. They need to do like a 1-3-1 split push, possibly with Swain with a group of people, while having the Graves and Teemo off in side lanes. Meanwhile, for Land Sharks, right, you have effectively a team fight composition that wants to deal with a 1v4 split push or just a straight up team fight. And that's effectively what you want.
Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Ruahi, but as we get into the team fight again, it looks like Mystic might have gotten taken down there. Won't have to burn the flash. Tendusky did try and get that smite kill. Hot Bean Water did have to put down the ignite as well. So a lot of damage put in as we get in game here, but it looks like Mystic is going to be able to survive. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So right now we're gonna go ahead and keep looking around the map, and one of the things that we can see here is that you see right now, we talked about it before, Tendusky on this Graves pick, you start to see him going for some early aggression. He gets a knock onto mid lane, and he is still here. Tendusky looks like he may go for first blood. Mid lane has to flash, and that will keep him alive. A lot of good damage coming in from Colonel Cannon right there on the swing. So it is a lot of damage coming in from both sides right now, but for the moment, still waiting on that first blood, as it looks like both teams have seen some jungler participation going across the map. And as soon as I say that, it looks like Mystic could be roaming up to the top lane, potentially looking for something here from Shiny. On top of Shiny, Shadow Gear, and just like that, a gold card will connect on to Colonel Cannon coming in from the mid lane, but he will be okay.
So despite all the action that's going on, that's a lot of action. Things are still evening out here pretty heftily. Shen, Dracana, managing to actually get a small CS lead despite being pushed into by the Teemo right here. So that CS lead is going to be huge in making up for the possible harassment later on if he gets pushed out of lane. Mid lane, TF, he's got great mana sustain. He can just blue card whenever he wants to if he starts running low. Whereas the Swain here on Colonel Cannon, he's starting to run a bit boom. He's not going to be able to continue this harassment to force out a sort of kill condition in the lane. He's going to be reduced to just farming here.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about that early poke coming in from this bot lane potentially. We're looking at which side had the advantage, and right now for the side of Land Sharks, you start to see the damage coming in from warning shots on this Misfortune. Aardvark 9-6 right now is about midway through his health bar, but he's still being able to stay there. But we got to remember, Hot Bean Water does not have any summoners right now on this Leon. Use the summoners trying to get that kill on the Mystic during that first early skirmish. And right now, that might give the advantage over the Land Sharks. Oh, and just like that, it looks like it might. Hot Beat Cannon looked for an engage here on the Temeraire. Temeraire will go ahead and trade back some as well, but no harm, no foul coming in from either side. As we see, Dracana comes in on a taunt on a Shiny Shadow Gear. Another Zenith Blade coming in from Hot Bean Water. And Tedusky is here. Flash coming in from Temeraire. And Temeraire will go down for first blood. And that will go over to Tedusky. Tedusky looking for another, but warning shots will get the flash off and first blood to Monkeys in Training. And just like that, Tedusky looks like he may go again. Flashes forward, but he's caught under the tower. Stand United comes in from Dracana, and that will keep his AD carry alive. He will flash taunt, get it on to Hot Bean Water. Hot Bean Water does not have a flash, still not up yet. Will look like he's gonna go down. And no, Hot Bean Water will survive. Just like that, a Dracana. As Mystic goes down, Tedusky picks up another, and Aardvark picks up a kill as well. 3 kills now for the side of Monkeys in Training.
Now, you just hate to see that. You think you killed them with that auto attack, you start to walk back away because of your orb walking mechanics, and they lived with a sliver of HP. Oof.
A sliver of HP indeed, Ruahi.
Absolutely. But a really good fight coming out of Monkeys in Training right there. That's going to be huge for starting to get that snowball going that they're going to need for that damage later on for the split push comp. Kaisa in particular, despite being down about 20 CS, she's going to pick up a little bit from this wave here that's crashing under tower, but she's got a kill and 2 assists, and Graves has 2 kills and 1 assist. Like, this is a huge amount of income directly into their bank. Kaisa now sitting onto a BF sword, whereas Miss Fortune is sitting on a serrated dirk. Not a bad item by any means, but not as much flat damage as the BF sword. But when it comes to the first item spike, that's very important for this Kaisa because Miss Fortune's item spike is actually cheaper than Kaisa's item spike.
And that's going to be something we have to keep an eye on. As you said before, Aardvark is still about 10 CS down right now coming in against Warning Shot, but picking up that 1 kill is going to be huge to put that pressure back into the side of Monkeys in Training. And it looks like, again, Tedusky is here potentially for another gank.
Now, I want to bring something up. Look at the top lane, right? The Teemo versus the Shen. I'm sorry, something's going on across the map.
Yes, it is Hot Bean Water trying to get on it to Temeraire as it looks like 4 members are here, and Colonel Cannon will pick up a kill on the Temeraire, but mid lane is here as well. A killing spree for Tedusky as he goes ahead and picks up his 3rd kill in a row.
Oof, a really good rotation done here by MIT. Now they're going to try and force this first tower. That's going to be a huge income. They're not quite able to get it yet, and Hot Bean Water actually giving over a kill to mid lane there. Just tanking the tower just a bit too long. This might mean that they can't take the tower now. Unfortunate. But really good rotation coming out of Monkeys in Training here against Land Sharks. Despite the Twisted Fate showing that he's able to be there for that fight, when 4 people are already there and they've managed to kill Warning Shot before mid lane even gets there, it was just too much for them to fully answer on, and Dracana was too busy in the top lane. Actually, I don't think he had his Stand United yet at that time.
Yeah, I don't think he had that up either, but it looked good as mid lane did go ahead and get that ultimate in, use the Destiny to get into the bot lane and be there for that fight, but it just did not go the way of the Land Shark. And Tedusky, again, we talked about him early on in our pregame here, very lethal on this Graves pick, 3-0-1 to start. That early aggression coming in from the jungle for Monkeys in Training is going to do wonders for them as we get to the mid game. Now,
as we mentioned that, bringing our attention back up to the top lane, Noticing the Shen versus the Teemo, the Shen has roughly a 25 CS lead on the Teemo, despite having done that stand united in the bottom lane and been there for that fight, even dying in the bottom lane. He's still managing to have a commanding presence in the top lane, still managing to farm up, and when you're building tank items, he's going to scale faster than the opposing Teemo. And especially when you see most of MIT is a lot of magic, quote-unquote, damage. Graves is physical, but Kai'Sa is mixed damage. She's building physical, but she still has her passive, which deals a lot of magic damage. You have the Swain, he's a lot of magic damage, and you have Leona. Leona's passive as well, which other people proc, which is a lot of magic damage. So Shen, even if he builds pure magic resist, which it looks like he's going for some early armor, or at least just sitting on a Balmy Cinder, is going to be sitting in a really nice position to resist the rest of the opposing team while he's ahead.
And that's something I wanted to say. He has that Balmy Cinder right now. You talked a little bit about how much AP and Monkeys in Training had. Would you want to see him, maybe go towards that Spirit Visage early like this, or maybe even an Abyssal Mask to try and mitigate some of that AP damage that's going to be coming his way?
Oh, absolutely. When you're looking at Monkeys in Training, it's very important to go for the Abyssal, as they're going for a dive here in the top lane.
Yes, they are, and a collateral damage will seal Dracana's fate. That's going to be the rampage coming in for Tedeschi right now. 6-1 in kills. Monkey in Training are up now on Landsharks.
Oof. So, going back onto Spirit Visage as they begin to dive onto Hot Bean Water.
Yes, they do. Another fight coming in. The Fissure will knock up Hot Bean Water, and I do not know if Hot Bean Water is going to be able to get out. Will get tagged by that Winter's Bite and get stunned up, and Mystic will pick up the second kill for the side of Landsharks. A rotation coming in, but I don't think that Monkeys in Training will go ahead and finish that.
Now, Monkeys in Training was beginning to rotate there, but they decided to send their Swain and Graves to the mid lane. They're going to try to get some damage onto this mid tower. Mid tower is arguably the most important towers to go down because it just opens up the map so much. And when we're looking at objectives on the field, they've already managed to take the Cloud Drake. This is going to help their split push later on in the game, and it's going to help their rotations early on in the game. And we're seeing them beginning to gather around the Rift Herald right now, as it's the only other main objective outside of a tower that's left on the map. Getting this is going to help them break open the egg that is the outer towers, and or they save it to do a second tier tower into an inhibitor tower.
Absolutely, and I think right now the way that the game is kind of getting a little bit not stagnant, but we are sitting at a crossroads here in this game as you get to see Monkeys in Training start up that Rift Herald. They will look like they knocked down Shelly here. I think they may go ahead and take that into the mid lane, or they might take it top, but either way, that should be a tower potentially going down for Monkeys in Training.
It looks like they're planning on pushing in top lane. I don't know if they're going to use it there, though. Meanwhile, Warning Shot is getting free farm in the bottom lane and is looking to try and get some solid damage there, and with a huge minion wave. He has vision of the entire Monkey in Training team.
And Tedeschi will go ahead and drop Shelly down in the mid lane. So I do not know if they're going to go ahead, and they look like they are going to have an opportunity to knock this tower down in the mid lane. It looks like right now Mystic is in that top lane trying to help out Dracana, but it will be another brick heading over to the side of Monkeys in Training. And I don't know if they're going to stop this push right here, Ruai.
Well, the push is going to be stopped here. They managed to get Shelly down, but it dealt hefty damage. It cost them their mid tower and half of their second tier mid tower's HP in response. Swain is going to have to either back or get blue buff here. He's sitting on absolutely no mana, but if he gets the blue buff, he's going to be able to get to stick around in these fights a lot more. Until he has some solid mana regen, he's going to find himself a lot in these fights.
Yes, he will. And one of the first things that we get to see coming in as these items start to slowly come down the pipe for the side of Monkeys in Training, that Storm Razor is going to be finished up for Aardvark 96 on this Kai'Sa. So that damage is going to start to get there. We see mid lane on the TF finished up that Rod of Ages, and so he's going to be able to have some sustain, but also put out some damage, as it looks like Hot Bean Water will go in, and there's that ultimate coming in from Warning Shot, and I think it was just to clear as the teleport comes in from Colonel Cannon, but I don't know if that's going to be all, and I think that will be coming in for the side of Monkeys in Training.
So they were trying to get as much damage done onto that turret as possible in response to the push that had happened already in the mid lane. Unfortunately, they're just not scaled up enough to really force those towers so quickly. Jax is only sitting on his Blood Razor, which doesn't really help with his damage to towers outside of the attack speed.
And here comes another dive in the top lane. Dracana taking a lot of damage. He's already been ignited, and it looks like he is going to go down. Shiny Shadow Gear will pick that one up, and that's going to be another kill for the side of Monkeys in Training.
So Monkeys in Training here, they took the bottom tier tower, they got Rift Herald, took the middle tower, and now they went and took the top tower. So they've managed to get all outer towers. They're getting their second... Oh, they tried to steal the second Cloud Drake, but Mythic managing to pick that up for his team. Good job for Mythic. That's going to help them respond to these rotations quite a bit.
And that's something that's really kind of stuck out to me. Monkeys in Training with these rotations, they have been all over the map. And I know you talked about it a little bit there. And that would have been a big dragon there if Tindusky could have gone ahead and picked that up. But when you look at how much rotations these monkeys really are putting into these games and into this fights, they're able to have a fight in mid lane, knock down 1.5 tower, go back up, rotate to the top lane, pick up another tower, and who knows which way they're going to be going now. Landsharks have to do something to try and slow down the pace of the game right now.
Yeah, and if you look at the map, right, this is the power of having so many split pushers on the same team. They had people in the top lane. Leona and Kai'Sa rotated to the mid lane. Graves pushed in the bottom lane just a bit. They're all over the map, and then the moment they see land sharks head towards a lane in any form of force, they're able to immediately rotate people from the mid lane to the side lane opposite them, or from the side lanes to the mid lane, depending, in just response.
Right now, and you can see that Landsharks trying to get some kind of control back over this game. I think they're trying to go ahead and slow the pace down like we were talking about before. Down right now about 4,000 gold. Monkeys in Training have gotten out to a very fast start and been able to maintain that. As it looks like now we have 5 members of Landsharks in the mid lane, potentially trying to take down this first tier tower.
So this is more of what Landsharks is wanting here. They're wanting a 5-on-5, they're wanting a team fight. So it's very important that if they start to get that fight, that they commit. They have a team comp that's ready for that commitment. Despite being behind, this is what they're specialized into. Sure, they have Hot Bean Water, they're able to lock you down, they have a lot of damage coming out of their out of Monkeys in Training as well. But this is essentially what you've drafted your team into, and you're going to have to play to your strengths if you want to come out of this alive.
Absolutely. And Colonel Cannon, as he locks up to Mariere right there, will go ahead and put a little bit of damage in on the ground. But that's something that we have to keep an eye on, because if Landsharks can get those 5v5 fights like they want, then they're going to have a great opportunity when it comes to some of these later mid-game fights. But right now, the way that Monkeys in Training have been rotating across the map, and we see Tindusky up in the top lane as he gets ready to set up his recall, since I say that, but we saw him pushing in the waves in the top lane, so I don't know if Monkeys in Training are going to let them have that 5v5 fight like they want.
Oh, as we see the Teemo heading to the bot lane as well, they're trying very hard to not let them have anything in the form of a team fight. We're back to that 1-3-1, Graves, Teemo, while everyone else is in 3 in the mid. And we see them rotate up top in response to everybody from Landsharks being mid-bottom. And so now they're going to push a tower and they're going to get this for free.
Absolutely, and right now it looks like, as you said, Monkeys in Training will pick up one in the top lane, that's tier 2, but the tower in the mid lane looks like Landsharks may be able to pick that up, as Drakan is taking dangerously low underneath the tower, but I don't know if that's going to be able, Shiny Shadow Gear is going to be able to take that down. He will not, but just like that, as soon as I say that, Monkeys in Training, they take 2 towers on top of the on top of the mid lane tower, actually make that 3 towers coming in for the side of Monkeys in Training. Now that's definitely got to be worth Ruahi.
Absolutely, they didn't even lose anything out of it. As far as we know, no real summoners were blown, no summoners at all were blown, nobody died. They just got 3 free towers, an open inhibitor. Now Baron is coming up. Monkeys in Training, you're going to have to hole up, farm up, scale up, and then you're going to have to group up into this one big ball with potentially Twisted Fate or Shen on a side lane to answer the Teemo, and try to really force the hammer down in a fight. It should be Shen answering the Teemo, however Shen built an armor item first versus an AP Teemo. Sure, he has the Mercury Treads.
But right now we might get another fight, as Hot Bean Water looked like he was going to be caught out, but no, the cavalry is here as both teams go ahead and will fight for vision around the Baron pit. But I don't know if Monkeys in Training will go ahead and take this fight, and I think they think better of it, as Colonel Cannon will get the root and pull back on the warning shot. Warning shot is taken very low as Hot Bean Water goes in for another one. We have a team fight. Bullet Time comes in and shreds through Aardvark, and he go down, and that's going to be Tiamari going in and going down, as well as both teams trade. So much damage coming in as Kennelcorn gets the explosion onto one. So far, only 1v1 has gone down. Both teams losing only 1 member, but it looks like Monkeys in Training may be a little bit healthier, and they will take another second tier tower. Oh, the fight is not over as mid lane looks like he's gonna get locked up. Hot Bean Cannon, what a move right there, and unstoppable is Tedeschi right now on this Graves.
So this is, despite being a split team comp versus a much more team fight heavy team comp, you're at the point where the gold deficit is so incredibly high. It's about a 9k gold deficit now. It was about an 8 or 7k gold deficit. I'm sorry, Leona is getting eclipsed.
Yes, she is. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, Hot Bean Water. And that's gonna go down, kill credit going over to the side of Landsharks. But you talk about it before, that gold lead is just so much right now in favor of Monkeys in Training as they pick up another win Drake for their troubles here. But when you look at the comps, Landsharks want to fight, but right now they just don't have the itemization and the gold to do so.
And as the game goes on, though, if the gold lead stays the same, just because of how buying works, because of how percentages work, that gold lead is actually going to become smaller if the gold value stays the same as the game goes on. At 30 minutes, that almost 10k gold lead is going to be smaller than it is right now. At 40 minutes, it's almost negligible.
And right now, I know Landsharks are desperately hoping that they can go ahead and make it to that late game situation where you, like you said before, the gold doesn't really matter at 40, 50 minutes once everyone is full build. And so for the side of Landsharks, I know that's something that they're going to be looking for as both teams start to posture a little bit around this Baron. I don't know which side is going to be able to pull the first move, as it looks like Temeriere is going to get in there and try and clear out some vision, but Temeriere might have to use Flash to get out of here. It looks like he might be stuck in this pit, but we see several members here as a little cheeky there from Shiny Shadow Gear picks up onto Baron. Temeriere is taking a lot of damage, has to get away with the Flash as the disengage comes in. Bullet Time will, another great lockdown coming in from Hot Bean Cannon, as it looks like Temeriere is taking low, and he will go down. Killing spree right now for Colonel Cannon, as Shakara is here as well. Warning shot will go down, and it looks like Monkeys in Training are just cleaning up the fight. A double kill coming in for the side of Tedeschi, and that is going to be 4 for none.
not only 4 for none, but we're going to see 2 inhibitors going down. They have a massive wave in the top lane. Death timers are still pretty low here, so they might not get anything more than these 2 inhibitors, but it's very possible that they get a single Nexus turret as well.
And they will pick up the first inhibitor. I don't, like you said, they probably will pick up both. I think they're going to stop right there, and that is good play right there coming in from Monkeys in Training. So much damage coming across the board. 7-0-2 right now. Tedusky is on this Graves. You look at the Swain. Colonel Cannon has been putting in so much work on this Swain. Aardvark didn't get the invitation to take the blast cone there, but still so much damage coming in as it Monkeys in Training will start up this Baron, and it seems like this might be a bit of a stretch, but it's going down at a pretty swift pace. Land Sharks are making their way in. Destiny is called, so they will get vision of this. As the smite comes in, Monkeys in Training will pick up Baron. Now will they be able to get out?
Absolutely. You have Baron enhanced recall. Everybody from Land Sharks is too scared to go in because they just lost a fight. They didn't really gain anything to put onto the map in terms of gold after that fight. So they would be going in effectively as they were before that fight had started, albeit without a few ultimate cooldowns. Now, effectively, this Baron just seals the deal for Monkeys in Training. You have 2 fresh inhibitors down, top and mid. There's only 1 lane open. You have the Baron. Everybody group bottom. Nobody needs to be in a side lane anymore. You've already shown you can win team fights because you just have the gold value over your opponents. You have 11k gold over your opponents that you just put onto the map because of that team-wide recall that just happened. Everybody should be in the bottom lane. You push it in, easy win.
And right now, they're going to go ahead and follow the Ruahi book of winning League of Legends. As it looks like Shiny Shadowgear looks like he may try a little cheeky move here as the Teemo will have to get Drakara's ultimate. Stand United will have to be used to keep Mystic alive. And just like that, with the Baron empowered minions, Monkeys in Training are walking into the base and knock down their 3rd inhibitor. And as the minions start to pour in, Ruahi, I don't know if there's anything else Land Sharks can do here in game 1. As Tedusky eats a little bit of damage coming in from mid lane. But right now, it's all about putting these supers into the base, pouring them in as they try and get damage onto the Nexus turrets. As Mystic goes in, we'll get the counter-strike over on the hot bean water, but it does not matter. 1 turret is already down for the Nexus. It looks like Monkeys in Training will look for the 2nd one as Tedusky and Colonel Cannon hit the tower, and just like that, both towers are going to go down. Great counter-strike coming in there from Mystic, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We'll take down 1. Shutdown going over to Colonel Cannon as a double kill comes in for the mid laner from Monkeys in Training, and that will be the game. Triple kill to seal the deal, and Monkeys in Training take game 1.
Really good performance by Monkeys in Training. They managed to get the flow of the game. They kept the flow, rotating extremely well, being there for the fights they need to be, avoiding fights they didn't need to be in, and then once they had the lead, the dominating pressure, they just started to steamroll their opponents.
Absolutely. And one of the things we talked about before was the pressure that they put in. And I know you just touched on it there, but the pressure they were able to put around the map. I mean, Tedusky was all over the map. And then you had Colonel Cannon being able to get to those late game items, be that big carry that we know of when we think of a Fed Swain. 6-0-6 for him, 8-0-4 for Tedusky. And then although Aardvarks didn't get to the huge power spike that we think of when we think of a Kaisa, it didn't really matter. The damage was there from his other teammates, and it really pushed Monkeys in Training over the top.
Absolutely. So what I want to see from Land Sharks game 2, okay, you picked a team comp that should have had more global pressure than the opponents. You had the Shen, you had the Twisted Fate, but what it came down to was that Monkeys in Training, they just had more bodies across the map because of the way they positioned everybody on the map. They did the 1-3-1, and then as soon as people started showing up in a different lane, they immediately started flowing all of their resources to where the opponents weren't in the early to mid game, forcing objectives. And in the early game, they managed to turn some of those counter ganks that Dracana and mid lane tried to answer with. They managed to turn them around, especially that really early first fight when they had overcommitted to hot bean water after losing out on that kill. They turned around, they overcommitted, and it cost both Dracana and Mythic's life.
Absolutely, and you saw that over aggression start to come in, and it really kind of cost Land Sharks there, and monkeys in training were the beneficiaries of that over aggression, and that's why they were able to take that early lead and really snowball it through the rest of the game. So right now, Ruai, we got some time. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be right back on ODL with Game 2 coming right up. And welcome back to ODL Overdrive League Bronze Silver Division. Aaron Pro Doggy Johnson alongside Duckham, Ruahi Davey, and Ruahi. That first game going for Monkeys in Training was a bit of a stomp, but let's see if Landshark can do something to bounce back in game two.
Oh, that last game. That was a slow roast in the oven, I gotta tell you. That was well done. I don't think they lost a single turret that game.
It was very one-sided coming in for Monkeys in Training, and we talked about Landsharks having some advantages, possibly playing to certain win conditions, and they just weren't able to do that. I mean, the snowball started early, and it just kept on rolling down the doggone hill. So that's going to be something that we got to keep an eye on as the bans start to come out again. Got to remember, Monkeys in Training have only one ban. Looked like it didn't really have any issue with that in game one, but Landsharks has every ban except for one. So 4 bans for the side of Landsharks and 1 ban for the side of Monkeys in Training. Excuse me, 5 bans for the side of Landsharks. But
and it looks like Landsharks is already trying to answer what happened on last game. They're banning out the Leona. Apparently, her aggression, her engages, her tools for CCing was just too much for Landsharks to be like, we don't want to deal with this again. We want you on a more passive support.
Absolutely, and Hot Bean Water was all over the place in some of those fights, getting some really great engages, getting in there with the Zenith Blade straight into the stun, locked up, and in one particular fight locked up warning shots of Misfortune and just completely got her shredded. So I can understand why Landsharks would want to take that off of the table. But one ban I'm a little curious at why they didn't take off the table was Tedusky's Graves. I have to be honest with you, Rahi. I'm surprised they didn't take that one off the table.
Well, they are still banning Kha'Zix and Kayn. It might be that they're more scared of Tedusky on those champions than they are of him on Graves. They're possibly thinking maybe if we play safer in lane, then we won't give him an opportunity to get an easy gank off, because Graves, he doesn't bring any CC to the table, he's only bringing damage. And so it comes down to they have to be either out of position or the opposing laner has to bring so much CC to the table that Graves is then able to gank and get kills. So maybe they're thinking we'll pick safer lanes, we'll be safe, and we won't have to deal with Graves. He's just going to be forced to farm.
And one of those safe lane picks coming in right now is going to be Caitlyn down in the bot lane. Although Caitlyn isn't the most mobile AD carry there is, she has the range to be able to stay behind and put out the damage for Landsharks here. So I think that's something when you look at the bot lane that's going to be very important here for Landsharks, is they're going to be able to even up this series. We're going to see the Camille and the Ari also locked in. Talk to me a little bit of Ruahi. How do you feel about that Ari pick? Because I'm a little surprised by that.
Now, when it comes to mid lane here, right? And I'm talking about the person, not the role. Gotta love it when they take the name of their role. But he seems to be a two-trick person, right? He is an Ari main and a Twisted Fate main. We saw the Twisted Fate last game. Now, Monkeys in Training had a really strong answer for the Twisted Fate by just being able to out-rotate his global pressure. So now he's bringing out the Ari, who has a lot more upfront damage, a lot more potential damage than Twisted Fate, and especially for his style of playing, where he likes to be in the thick of battle, where it's high risk, high reward, Ari is a champion that excels more in that than Twisted Fate. Whereas Twisted Fate, he doesn't have any of that mobility. He gets blown up if anybody gets on top of him. But Ari has a lot of mobility for the few seconds that she's using her ultimate. And that's really all he needs for those fights. So as long as he's going in with the ultimate, he doesn't really need to show fear. He's just going to go in, deal damage, possibly get kills, get back out, and do whatever he wants.
Absolutely, and that's something that you touch on there, coming in from mid lane, being able to be that shifty fox there coming in on the Ari. Are we going to see maybe some roams coming in for mid lane, maybe looking down to help out in the bot lane for warning shot, and to Marriere looking to help out that bot lane when they I said they didn't really play bad in the first game, but they didn't do much to quote unquote carry either, which is why Land Sharks took such a dive the way it looked out in game one.
Yeah, it's not so much that they played wrong, it was that they didn't stop their opponent's win condition, which was that strong split push into quick rotations. Now we're seeing Land Sharks, they're starting to counteract that strategy. They have a lot of mobility on these champions. You have the Camille, the Ari. Nami has good disengage and or technically engage as well, despite it being a I forget the word. You know what I mean. But we
The
also
bubble.
see them locking in the Ornn, who has the longest range engage in the game. And so Camille can engage, Nami can peel disengage, Ornn can engage even before anybody else has the opportunity. And so now they have a front line in Ornn, they have a mid line in Camille, they have a peeler in Nami, they have a really far back line in Caitlyn, and then they have Ari who's going to be able to dash in, dash out, just reposition herself to where she needs to be.
Absolutely. And I do want to touch on the fact that Tedeschi did get his graves once again. But that is something that I agree with. When you look at the way the comps are set up, when you look at Land Sharks, they did do a much better job, I believe, in game two in setting up, the typical front to back kind of team comp here. The Camille was flexed a little bit. I really thought the Camille was going to go to Dracana in the top lane, but Mystic will pick that up and go in the jungle. So a little bit of flexing going on here for the side of Land Sharks, and it might have maybe done something with Monkeys in Training as the Varus gets locked in as well as the Braum. And so we're going to have to see, which each of these teams is going to do. And we talk about win conditions before. We're going to talk about them again. Ruahi, what are going to be the win conditions? Take me through it for both of these teams. Land Sharks trying to even up the series.
So, touching on to Land Sharks here, their win condition is once again going to be the team fight. However, they have a secondary win condition here in sieging. They have Ari, she's able to throw out her orb. They have the Caitlyn, who is just one of the best, if not the best, sieging AD carry in the game. They have the Ornn, who's just a monster to deal with when it comes down to what he's capable of, throwing down a pillar, messing up people's pathing, and if people get out of position even slightly, doesn't matter where they are on the map, if he's able to see them, he's able to initiate on them. And then you have Nami. She's able to keep people healed up, she's able to have a long range, quote unquote, engage, but it works much better as a disengage. So if the enemy tries to go forward, Nami can stop them in their tracks. Now, their siege is focused on Ari and Caitlyn, though, so if either of those goes up in smoke, things might start falling apart pretty quickly. Now, as for MIT here, okay, you have their only real form of sort of quote unquote engage is Varus. Technically speaking, Braum has pseudo engage. Galio can engage with his Justice Fist and his AoE taunt. But Galio also functions very strongly as a counter engage mechanic, using his ultimate to give people damage reduction, that AoE knockup, and then just jumping onto people.
And I want to talk about a little bit of with the Galio coming in for Colonel Cannon. We saw him last game on something that had a little bit more carry potential in the Swain. But when you look at one of these utility mid laners that they put him on, Monkeys in Training do, you get that grand entrance. I believe that's going to be something that's really important when we get to some of these team fights. That grand entrance is going to be really amazing across the board because it's going to stop a lot of the damage you're going to see coming in for the side of Land Sharks. So that's going to stop a lot of the engage, especially coming in from maybe an Ornn ultimate with the with that coming in and starting off some of these team fights. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as we get into game and we are on the rift right now.
So MIT again has sort of set up this 1-3-1 again. They brought the Teemo again, they brought Graves again, and you have Galio, Varus, Braum. This is going to be a very strong three-man cell. You have the quote-unquote engage from Galio. You have the disengage from Braum. You have damage reduction. You have damage mitigation, and even Varus has pretty good engage using his ultimate, right? So it's a very strong three-man cell who's going to be able to deal with quite a lot that Land Sharks is going to be capable of, unless they again bring forth a stronger showing of people, which is what MIT wants to see. They want to see people being committed somewhere so that they can rotate elsewhere and force an objective. So it's going to be interesting to see how Land Sharks deals with that, since they're seeing the same strategy again in this game.
Absolutely, and you get to see Shiny Shadow Gear up on this Teemo again. They pretty well put in a ton of damage really in the first game, so it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to affect maybe this game again, as it looks like Tandusky and Mystic will find each other in the jungle. Mystic taken very low as we see a taunt coming in the mid lane onto mid lane, as it looks like that will knock Mystic out of his jungle, and Tandusky will go ahead and pick up that Scuttle Crab.
So Tandusky is trying to flex onto Mythic here, trying to say, this is my jungle, get out of it. He camped in that bush, waited for him to walk by, and did some nice burst damage. He's actually going over here, trying to force him off of this blue. He's in a good spot here. He's full HP, while Mythic is half HP, half mana. But he is going to be forced out because he's getting rotated on by Dracana.
Yeah, he is, and I think Tandusky may be caught out in no man's land. You see the rotation coming in from mid lane, coming in from Dracana, but it took a little while for Shiny Shadow Gear to get down here. But it will just go ahead and be no harm, no foul. We'll back off of the blue buff. But just like that, you see the early pressure that Tandusky has on this Graves, as trades coming in, and the heal will get burned down in the bot lane on to Aardvark, will keep him alive, heal and flash. So no summoners coming in for the Varus. And again, we talked about it before, warning shots with that range going into this bottom lane is really playing well into the hands of Landshark.
Well, absolutely. All it takes is for Nami to land one bubble, and that's going to be a lot of damage all up in your face really quickly. Now, Tandusky is down here. He's looking for a fight. They haven't got this warded, so they might be into a bad spot here.
Yes, they are, and Tandusky is here. One tag will get onto Temeriere, and he will have to flash. Warning shot will get tagged up too. Flashes coming in left and right. Hot Beam Water will flash and put down the Ignite. Temeriere looks like he's going to stay alive, but no! Oh, first blood going into Temeriere, as it looked like Hot Beam Water took one too many turret shots as mid lane flashes forward, trying to pick up a second kill, and will pick it up on the Colonel Cannon. And it looks like Tandusky may have stayed a little bit too much. Will eat some more damage coming in so close, but no! The peel to over Peacemaker will lock that one up, coming in for warning shots. That's going to be 3 kills to 0 for the side of Land Sharks.
Now this is the fight that they wanted to have last game. They tried to have it, things went into the favor of MIT last time. Now the flow is in the side of Land Sharks. Let's see if they can keep it up and really put it onto the map this time. That's a huge swing.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. It is a huge swing here, especially for the side of this Land Sharks bot lane. You look at Temeriere being able to pick up that first kill on the Hot Beam Water. Hot Beam Water really just kind of got too deep, took one too many turret shots before going down. But that's going to be no summoners in the bot lane, so both junglers may look for a potential gank down here in that lane.
Now, what was really nice to see was mid lane managing to get a kill onto Colonel Cannon solo. Galio is a very beefy, sort of an anti-mage almost because of his mechanics and just how beefy he is. He's much like a Cho'Gath you see in the mid lane. They're not trying to kill you so much as they are just going to be a nuisance, force you to get behind, and they're going to scale faster just through the methodology of what their champion is. They're not going to scale as hard, but they're going to scale faster. It's more trading late game for more mid-game presence. But seeing Colonel Cannon fall to mid lane there, it's a huge boon for mid lane. That shows that he's going to be able to really keep up the pressure. It's going to get him his items just a wee bit faster. He gets that gold boost, and it's going to show in ways just what it means.
Yes, it will. As level 6 is here onto Bolt. Charm will connect on the Colonel Cannon. Mid lane has no mana, so I don't think he's going to be able to go in there. Mystic goes over the wall, and it looks like Tedusky might be in a bad spot as well. Winds of War comes in trying to knock off Mystic, and it will disengage for the side of Monkeys in Training.
Now, unfortunately, mid lane had just spent too much mana. She ended up going I say she because they're playing Ahri. Ended up going so there was no mana to do any follow-up abilities. It's sort of the hand in the bush sort of deal when you're throwing out abilities to try and harass such a tanky champion down. You end up going early on until you get those mana items later.
And that was something that Colonel Cannon, I believe, had to be happy about, because if mid lane had some mana there, I definitely think that would have spelled doom for Colonel Cannon in that mid lane. So we're gonna look here as the bot lane is coming back to turn off some ward, and we look at the advantage Warning Shot has right now, up about 15 CS on Aardvark. What is it gonna take? 15 CS and a kill, and the damage is still coming in on this bot lane.
Ooh!
Great double bubble there from Temeriere.
So, Brahm's shield managed to block Nami's bubble, but Nami's bubble instead immediately falls directly centered onto Braum because of that. Now, Aardvark was beside Braum, which means the bubble, since it was immediately blocked, immediately CC'd both of them. I was not aware of that interaction. So that's actually going to possibly be a detriment, having Braum's shield when you're facing Nami's bubble.
Absolutely. You look down in this bot lane, and the biggest issue that they're going to have right off the bat is anytime you take an AP support into a melee support, the advantage is always going to be on the side of the AP support. And I don't know if they are going to go ahead, Monkeys in Training, to look for this first Infernal Drake. They do have 3 members down in this bot side with the bot lane of Lamp Sharks already recalling, but I think Tedusky's just going to go ahead and go into his jungle and not cause any issues.
So I want to give props to Dracana again in this top lane. He's going even with Teemo, but this time he's on Ornn. Ornn does not have the tools as Colonel Cannon tries to go in on mid lane here.
Yes, he does, but he's going to eat a lot of damage mid lane. Really putting in the damage on this Ahri right now. Colonel Cannon already half health, and I don't know if that's going to be, you know, a potential engage coming in for the side of Landsharks. You see Dracana has gone ahead and roamed all the way down to this mid lane. Might be looking to set something up.
So I think Dracana's trying to find something here in the bottom lane because there's an Infernal Drake up. Now when you're dealing with a siege comp, Infernal Drake can actually mean a lot. Ocean Drake is most of what you're wanting to get, because Ocean Drake means that you can heal back up while you're sieging things down. And it's just great for sustain in general if you're going for long, drawn-out bouts and skirmishes instead of just a straight-up team fight. Whereas Fire Drake is going to sort of apply a similar boost to a sieging team comp. They're able to poke that much harder. They're able to deal that much more damage. But all in all, Dracana here getting flashed on.
Yeah, he will, and Dracana just like that will go down. Shiny Shadow Gear will pick that one up. Another first kill, I should say, going over to the side of Monkeys in Training. And that's going to be big right there. I think that roam really hurt Dracana because he was going even, but missed a lot of experience and was 2 level down when the Teemo jumped in on him.
And he just doesn't have as much mitigation of that damage that the Shen had early last game. The Shen was able to dodge or block auto attacks. He had shields. Ornn only has a shield, and it stops him from moving effectively. He's forced into moving into the way that his fire breath is going.
And I want to bring your attention to something else. We talked about Dracana and being able to go even right now as we get to see mid lane going in. Gets a flash away from Colonel Cannon, but it's not going to matter. That's going to be another solo kill.
fight's not over yet.
No, it is not. In the bot lane, so much damage getting put on the Hot Bean Water, but I think he will be able to get away. Tandusky comes here down in the bot lane for some assistance, but Mystic follows up shortly. Hot Bean Water so far is going to be super low, but looks like we'll get the recall off. But I want to go back to that mid lane. Mid lane right now, living up to his namesake. 2 kills, 2 solo kills on the Colonel Cannon.
Yeah, he's making sure that he's getting these kills once he has the Ignite up. He harasses him down until he's within lethal, and then he throws the Ignite on him and just goes hard. Pops his ultimate, starts dashing around, gets the damage he needs, and goes hard. He doesn't even have any real sort of damage items built yet. He's got a Lost Chapter, and he's got a Blasting Wand. I think he just bought that Blasting Wand as well. So Colonel Cannon is getting styled on, unfortunately, and last game, Colonel Cannon was going even in the mid lane, but now he's died solo twice to mid lane, in the mid lane. So he needs to start finding potential ultimates in these side lanes, potential roams, potential ways to get back into the game, because if he stays mid lane, he's just going to let mid lane... Oh, I'm saying mid lane so much. Mid lane, why do you have to have your name as mid lane?
It caught me a few times too, can't lie to you.
But yeah, he needs to start finding opportunities in these side lanes, otherwise he's just going to keep letting mid lane get further and further ahead, which is going to be a problem since he's on a very strong comfort pick.
Yes, and it is showing right now as Colonel Cannon eats another charm in his mid lane. He's not really looking to do much as he engaged in the top lane. Comes in, Jakara tries to get onto Shiny Shadow Gear, but there's so many mushrooms in the way. Mystic goes in, will drop the Hextech ultimatum as the Ornhorn comes in, and Jakara will pick up 1 kill, but Tandusky is here. He may get 1 and another. Shadow picks up 1 for himself with the damage coming in from the poison, and down in the bot lane we see another kill. Avark goes ahead, gets a flash away from warning shot. Tandusky picks up another, but mid lane is here again, hits the charm on the Tandusky, and mid lane will try and pick up a 3rd kill, and right there will be on the killing spree. Meanwhile in the bot lane, you see warning shot trying to get away, but I don't know. Oh, like a good support, Hot Bean Water will pick that one up and save his AD carry. Fights are coming in fast and hard, Ruahi, and it looks like right there it's going to be Land Sharks 6 kills to the 3 of Monkeys in Training.
So all in all, they ended up both sides going rather even on it. 2 kills going over to Monkeys in Training, 2 kills going over to Land Sharks. But where those kills went is very important. The Ahri picking up another kill onto the Graves, and the Teemo going down to the Ornn. This is going to let Ornn get back into the game despite being down. He's still even in CS, but he was down, quote-unquote, pressure because he had died before, right? But in the bottom lane, now they've managed to pick up first tower after getting that fight so well in their favor, forcing Hot Bean Water out of the lane, forcing Aardvark to run away for his life. They get first tower gold onto the Caitlyn, who has a commanding 30 CS lead over the Varus.
Absolutely, and I was just looking at the gold differential in that bot lane, and there is so much gold being funneled right now in the warning shot. About 2k gold up on Aardvark coming in, and you already talked about that CS leaders. It looks like a potential fight will be out here in the jungle. Tandusky will not get knocked up. Jakara missed it, but mid lane comes over as the hero's entrance comes in, tries to save and mitigate damage from Tandusky, but Tandusky will go down as a rampage in from mid lane, as it looks like Colonel looks like he may go down here. Another charm is hit by mid lane. Mid lane is putting in so much work on this Ahri and will gift the kill over the Mystic, and that's going to be 2 kills in favor of Land Sharks.
So the Land Sharks are answering these rotations just absolutely wonderfully, and Dracana had a really good ultimate there onto Colonel Cannon. Despite being so low and having to be out of the fight, he was still able to help out in the fight because of the sheer range of his Call of the Forge God. Now, mid lane here has disconnected, so they're going to pause the game here. So let's just go over what each side is seeing at the moment and what it means for each team. So there's about a 4K gold difference in the favor of Land Sharks at 15 minutes into the game. Now, it hasn't translated too much into objectives. We've got the Fire Drake over onto Land Sharks, which is going to be a huge boon, especially for Warning Shot, who has just scaled so incredibly fast on their side. It's going to mean a lot for mid lane here, who's also 4-0, scaling incredibly fast. Meanwhile, on the side of Monkeys in Training, you still have most of your towers. You've only lost one. It was the first tower, but you've only lost one tower. However, you're facing a siege team comp. This is going to mean a lot of towers are going to be going down pretty quickly if you don't find an answer for it. You need to find a way to get onto Warning Shot, take him out. You need to stop mid lane from taking out Colonel Cannon, from roaming as much as she is now, as she's transferring over to the late mid game here. Rift Herald is still up and is going to be up for another 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes. We're going to be seeing somebody possibly making a play for that. Mid tower going down here for MIT. And we're seeing pings by Land Sharks going immediately for the Rift Herald.
And I think that's a good play there. They go ahead, take down that first tower. We talked about it a little bit in game one of how important that tower is. And just like that, you take that pressure away from the mid lane. You go straight to Shelly. But it looks like this could potentially be another fight, as several members of Monkeys in Training are here, possibly looking to push Land Sharks off of this, but I think they're going to have to give this one up. Although there is the flank potentially coming in from Shiny Shadow here. And just like that, Dusty goes over and it will steal away the Rift Herald. And just like that, the first kill goes over to the side of Monkeys in Training. And they have another kill picked up Hot Bean Water. And that's going to be a third kill. Dusty takes down Mystic. And just like that, the flash over the wall, the quick strike, quick draw over the wall from Tedusky will secure that Rift Herald as Colonel Cannon picked that up. And that's a huge team fight win coming in for the side of Monkeys in Training.
The Eye of the Rift Herald on its back had just popped up. Tedusky took that opportunity. That's 1,500 damage. He popped over the wall, he smited, auto-attacked it, and that was his immediately. He was in position to hit that eye. Unfortunately, nobody on Land Sharks was in position to hit that eye. And so, kill credit over to Monkeys in Training. Now, the mid tower goes down for Land Sharks. Top tower goes down, top tower goes down for Land Sharks. This is a huge swing of gold back into the favor of MIT. Now from 4K gold, they're only about 1K gold difference in the teams now. And this is a huge swing back into the favor of MIT. They're virtually even at this point in time. However, Ocean Drake being taken for the side of Land Sharks. As a siege team comp, they have Fire Drake, they have Ocean Drake. These are stats that are worth their weight in gold. So despite being a 1K gold difference, these two dragons for a siege team comp are actually worth a lot more. Who knows what the gold difference is right now?
Absolutely, and that's going to be a huge consolation prize for the side of Land Sharks. But if you talked about it before, Monkeys in Training, they were down 4K gold. The game was looking like it was going to slip away. I mean, mid lane is still sitting pretty with 4 kills and a Luden's Echo right now on this Ahri. But who knows what situation it's going to take for Land Sharks to retake control of this game. Right now, the gold lead is just about even, like you said, about a 1.3K gold lead for the side of Land Sharks. So right now, what is it going to take for them to get back into the commanding lead that they had before?
So the problem with Monkeys in Training is, as a team fight is breaking out here onto the Brom.
Yes, it is, and that will be a flash coming in from Hot Bean. Hot Bean Water took up so much damage there. ate the charm and everything. As the call of the Forge Guard comes down, it looks like Landsharks are looking for a fight here. Hobby Cannon will get knocked up and destroyed, as Sandusky looks like he may go down. Aardvark will get put into the Hextech Ultimatum, but Mystic is on the wrong side of the things, as it looks like he will go down. And just like that, oh, mid lane too far, will pick up a kill on the Aardvark, but gets collateral damage in the face, and that will go down as Shiny Shadow Gear continuing the chase right now, as you see three members, of the side of Monkeys in Training chasing down the Landsharks, and Landsharks will get out and lick their wounds.
So this is the difference in team comps that I was about to go into before they had that massive team fight. On the side of MIT, they don't have any actual engage. They have a lot of counter engage, and they have some pseudo engage, but they don't have any actual engage. And when you're facing a Siege team comp, that's sort of what you need in order to break past that Siege line in order for you to start that fight. Now on the side of Landsharks, they have that engage. They have long range engage. They have Siege. They're able to take these fights when they want, where they want, and effectively, they have control of that game. However, when it came to that particular fight, they ended up diving past where they were comfortable. They went past the tier 2 tower, mid lane, and mythic, and it ended up costing them their lives. And they left the rest of their team out to dry. They almost went down to Shiny Shadow Gear alone, who's going to be dealing out a metric butt ton of damage, especially since he has his Leandries. He has his Nashors, Leandries. Leandries just got buffed, actually, so it's burning more damage. Teemo Shrooms have that slow, so that's impaired movement, which means Leandries is burning even more damage, percent HP max damage, and it's absolutely massive. So yes, you can start a fight, but you can't go past your front line.
And I like that you brought up that Leandries, because that is something that Shiny Shadow Gear showed right there. On top of the Teemo Poison, getting that extra bit of tick damage in is really showing a lot in these team fights for the side of Monkeys in Training. So MIT, they're looking possibly to set up a Fnatic Death Brush here in the river. I don't think anyone from Landsharks will go ahead and check. Very scary. And just like that, oh, they whip onto it, but the Chain of Corruption will connect onto the Ahri. That's a lot into Temerier, and Temerier will go down. Aardvark will go down, as well as mid lane picks up another, as Shiny Shadow Gear picks up a kill, but he will be shut down. Sandusky putting in so much damage with the stun. Oh, great flash taunt there from Colonel Cannon, and that will be another kill as the shutdowns are coming in fast and hard as Sandusky picks up 2.
So they realized they had no real way of engaging onto such a long-range team fight siege comp, so they set up the Death Bush. Mythic had walked by, they let him walk by. But Temeri, they came just a bit too close, gets engaged on, Hot Bean actually missing the his ultimate, but it didn't matter. The Colonel Cannon, immediate follow-up, managing to lock him down, and just a team fight erupting into the thick of things. The carries were already too close for comfort. Shiny getting onto warning shot, not letting him get any damage off, and it was murder she wrote from there.
And that looked like an ill-advised Baron try there for the side of Monkeys in Training. They tried to pick that up, teleport coming in for Dracaria, as well as Temerier getting there. So that will go ahead and spell doom for Hot Bean Water, as the Braum will go down. And just like that, a bit of a flip going back in the favor of Landsharks, as Landsharks are holding on desperately to that 1.7k gold lead right now.
So Monkeys in Training is trying everything they can in the book to try and stay relevant in these team fights. They're doing Death Bush, they're trying to get onto the carries, they're getting Shiny to flash forward to get onto warning. As
Sandusky looks like he's in trouble here. Hextech Ultimatum come down from Mystic, and Sandusky looks like he's locked up in the shutdown. We'll go over to Mystic.
And now this is a Mountain Drake. Again, you're a Siege team comp. When it comes to these, This is about the best RNG a Siege team comp could ask for. You've got Fire Drake, you got an Ocean Drake, and now you've got a Mountain Drake. I want to see Land Sharks go to a lane and really start for...
Oh, the Chain of Corruption damage coming in on Dracana. There was no hope. Chain of Corruptions and the damage coming in. That's a big kill coming in for Aardvark, who picks up his first of the game.
Absolutely. So, Land Sharks, you have everything, you have every tool available now. I need you. I need you. We need you. Everybody needs you to go down a lane and start sieging these towers. You've gotten 2. Get more. As for Land Sharks, or not Land Sharks, MIT, you're still doing what you need to do. You need to be finding these odd ways of engaging, these death bushes around important objectives like Baron, Dragon, finding people out of position, but you can't do regular fights, unfortunately.
Speaking of Death Breath, they may have just found Mystic. It looks like the stun will come in onto Shiny. Oh, Shiny Shadow Gear there looked like he was gonna go down, but that's how you sacrifice a Teemo. And that was a very good disengage coming in from Temerier with the Tidal Wave, being able to stop that Death Brush. And I really do like the fact that Monkeys in Training continue to try this Death Brush. We do have a quick pause here. It looks like mid lane did DC again. So while we have a second here, Ruahi, the way that this game's coming in, you talked about it before, Land Sharks, they want a siege. They have a siege comp. Why aren't they sieging?
Well, it probably comes down to the fact that they're a bit shook from game 1. They got absolutely decimated. They didn't have much to show for it, and so this time they're trying to do much of the same. They want to show that they are capable of steamrolling their opponents. However, because of this mindset, they're not playing to their team comp's strength. They should be in one of the lanes, potentially top lane here because it's so close to Baron, and sieging down that tower. Now, the side lanes are actually the safest for siege comps to be. Mid lane has too many openings that are too close together for people to find side engages, and when you're dealing with a lot of pseudo engage, that's where they want you to be. So you should head to a top lane or the bottom lane, preferably in this case the top lane because it's still an outer tower, and really just set up Ornn in the front, Mythic over to the side, and just warding shot poking away at that tower, setting up some traps to keep some safety. If they end up walking around behind you to try and sandwich you between that tower, you should have minions with you anyways if you're taking down a tower, because that reduces the tower's damage reduction, and you can just walk away and start sieging them from a new position. And when it comes to these jungle fights, these Baron fights, this is actually playing into MIT's favor because they have no strong engage. They have strong pseudo engage. They have strong counter engage, and they have strong damage over time, split push, all that jazz, but they can't pick the fights they want. They have to set up and hope that Land Sharks walks into them.
Absolutely. And as we get back into the game here, I like the fact that you talked about it before. Some of that pseudo engage that they have for the side of MIT is really, causing some issues for something that you want to break up here. The Charm connects on the Aardvark, and Hex Tech Ultimatum is put down on the AD carrier as well. Taunt comes in, and as Mystic will go down, but it will be returned very quickly over by Hot Bean Cannon. Hot Bean Cannon will go down as a hero entrance comes in. Mid lane, and Jahara gets knocked up, and just like that, a double kill coming in for Shiny Shadow Gear, and it looks like just like that MIT is wiping this fight.
So that was a questionable sort of engage. Mythic going in first, however, he's built a very fighter build. It's not even Bruiser. He's got Triforce, Warrior, Ninja Tabi, yes, but you're still dealing with a lot of magic damage on the opposing team. You've got Galio, Teemo, effectively, you should be looking for Ornn to start these engages. Instead, the Ornn did a follow-up engage, whereas Camille should be doing the follow-up engage, bringing the damage so that Ornn gets all of the CC on him instead of Camille. Because Camille has built so much damage, Camille needs to get the damage going. So you need Ornn to start the fight, take up the brunt of the CC. Mythic needs to go in afterwards, lock down who he needs to, potentially Aardvark or Tedusky, and then you can let Warning Shot in mid lane deal their damage from a range. However, Mythic started that fight. He got blown up after getting CC'd so hard by Colonel Cannon, and then you're left with a huge amount of upfront damage being blown up. That's the flaw in Siege comps, is that they don't bring as strong damage as these other types of fighter comps do.
Yes, and I agree with that completely. And one of the things that we're looking at here, we talked about it before early on, at 15 minutes, a little under 15 minutes, Landsharks had a 4K gold lead. That gold lead has now swung back in favor of MIT, who hold a little less than a 1K gold lead as they get ready to siege onto this tier 2 tower themselves. And I want to say something before that came to my mind while you're making your point. Landsharks have been putting a lot of eggs in the basket of getting these engagements onto Aardvark, and I really think that they should be going ahead and trying to get some of these engages onto either Tedusky or Shiny Shadow Gear, because although the Varus is still there and has the ability to cause havoc in these team fights, I don't think Aardvark has really shown that he's carrying any of these fights, so the engagements should probably be going elsewhere.
Oh, I would definitely agree with that, especially onto Tedusky, but Shiny Shadow Gear now has 3 items. Tedusky has quote-unquote 3 items, but it's really just 2 items and 2 half items here. So that's a lot of damage. Now, Hot Bean Water finally bringing out that strong Grom mechanic that can block Dracana's engage here. He uses his shield, he blocks the Call of the Forge God. That's something that a Yasuo can do as well, and that stops a lot of that engage that they're so scared of.
Yes, it does, and that was a really strong play there from Hot Bean Water. And I was honestly waiting for him to do that play as well, because some of these engages could have been mitigated and stopped early on before they started. And right now, as both teams set up, Tedusky is in that top side with Baron up minions, a 2-level lead up on Mystic as well. So he's going to try and take this tower down as the 4 remaining members of MIT are down in this bot lane. They try and set up a potential death rush as Colonel Cannon goes in for the Justice Punch, and it does not connect. But Tedusky is still sieging up this tower in the top lane. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it down, as Temeriere will eat a quick Winter's Bite coming in, and just like that, Tedusky will pick up that tower in the top lane, and he may look more for Mystic. But Mystic will be able to hook shot out of this, as both teams are kind of going back and forth right now, Ruari.
Yeah, and after picking up the Baron, they're utilizing that strong split push team comp. They put the Graves in the top lane. A fight going out onto Dracana here.
Yes, it does. Chain of Corruptions will connect, as will the Glacial Fissure. Oh, great knockup coming in from Dracana, and that will pick up one, pick up another, going over to mid lane. But Colonel Cannon's not done. He picks up a rampage kill onto Temeriere, but he goes down in the process, and now Warning Shot will pick that one up. No, I lied. It goes over to the side of a mid lane, and that's going to be a huge team fight win for the side of Landsharks.
So they managed to, on the side of Landsharks, they managed to absolutely murk Shiny Shadow Gear early on into that fight. Shiny did not get a lot of damage at all before going down, and it was just a really good engage onto Dracana. Hot Bean Water tried, good job Mythic securing that dragon from Tedusky, who tried to steal it from you. But so Hot Bean Water tried to block the Call of the Forge God again with his shield, but Dracana was there. Despite it being blocked, it still applied the secondary part because Dracana managed to smash into it before it hit the shield. So it utilized that knockup onto Colonel Cannon and Hot Bean Water at the same time because they were still inside of its hitbox when he smashed it. So despite it being blocked by Hot Bean Water, because he smashed it, and because they were still inside its hitbox, both of them got knocked up. So that was a really good response to the mechanics of Braum by Dracana.
Absolutely, and that knockup really, I think, won them the fight in favor of Land Sharks there, because they were able to go ahead and get those knockups, and right off the back of that, eviscerate Hot Bean Water, and then really put in tons of damage onto Colonel Cannon as well. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye on for Dracana if he continues to be able to kind of outplay Hot Bean Water in these fights.
So we're seeing people grouping up in the mid lane here. It might be that Land Sharks are finally going to go for that sieging potential that they've had all game long, as Shiny is utilizing the split push potential that they've had all game long.
Oh, Colonel Cannon goes in with the flash taunt, but I think he made up going too deep. As you see, Tedusky comes over. Grand Entrance will be there to stop any damage, but no, it looks like Colonel Cannon is going in for more. And just like that, as the Call of the Forge God comes down, Flash will have to come in for Hot Bean Water. But I don't know. Oh, he will be able to dodge the second hit of Call of the Forge God and be able to get out. But Colonel Cannon with a lot of aggression in this fight right now, trying to go in, and I don't think it's going to work, as it looks like, although the tower for Monkeys in Training did go down in the bot lane, they will have to give up at least the inhibitor tower here, and it looks like Land Sharks are going to go ahead and pick up the inhibitor as well.
So here's where the dragons really came into play here, especially Ocean Drake and Mountain Drakes. They've got 2 Mountain Drakes. Now after that fight, Land Sharks had actually gotten pretty low. They were about half HP, almost on all of them. But MIT wasn't much better. 2 of their teammates were at about a quarter HP. They had to leave. The rest of them had a lot of damage on top of them. They couldn't continue the fight. The Ocean Drakes started ticking. They started to get their HP back. They started to get their mana back. They ended up sieging down, not even sieging, but straight up just taking a tower, taking the next tower, taking an inhibitor, because they have 2 Mountain Drakes. This is where those dragons are really starting to come forward. They've got 4 drakes under their belts. Despite being down in gold, those are still worth gold. So they are ahead in gold value, and because of their team comp, if they play it to their strengths, it's going to be worth so much more, as we just saw in that mid lane.
Absolutely, and I like the way that MIT is doing it here. They are potentially setting up another death brush, 2 death brushes, it looks like, setting up around the Baron pit. As you can see, all 5 members of the team are here as they try and push off Land Sharks off of this Baron right now. They do have complete vision control, but after a few moments, that super minion wave in the mid lane is going to go ahead and push in onto Nexus Tower. So the decision making is going to have to come in clutch here for MIT. Are they going to sit around and try and keep this brush going as Aardvark goes and tries to deal with the super minions here? That gives an opportunity to mid lane and the rest of Land Sharks to go ahead and possibly clear out some of this vision.
So this is always the problem when it comes to death bushes and or Baron fights and or dragon fights, is that if you have an inhibitor down, there's only so much time you can spend there before you have to send somebody, or potentially 2 people, to go deal with the minion wave that has been created.
Winter's Bite will connect on the Mystic, but he's able to hook shot right out of the way and out of harm's way, I should say. And so right now, as the game seems to be on a bit of a knife's edge right now, about 36 minutes into this one, gold is just about tied up all the way across the board. So both of these teams have some decision making to do here. It could take one team fight in either favor to tilt this game going in one direction or the other, as Tedusky picks up a blue buff for himself. He already has the GA finished, as well as the Black Cleaver, putting in so much damage. He will be on this Graves, but it's really going to have to come down to these team fights, as it looks like a catch may be made here, just like that. Shiny Shadow Gear getting a little bit too greedy on the Teemo. He will get caught by the bubble and go down, and that's the pick Land Sharks were looking for.
Now, Land Sharks, you didn't have to wait for that pick. Looking at the map here, you see a minion wave building in the bottom lane. You see a minion wave building in the top lane. They're actually going in onto Colonel Cannon right now.
Yes, they are. Colonel Cannon will come back with injustice, but Chain of Corruptions will not connect. Glacial Fissure will knock up two. Great block there coming from Hot Beam Cannon, but Mystic looks like he will go in with the hot shot, but as the call the 4-shot comes down, it will knock up two. As the stopwatch is used by Colonel Cannon, and that will spell his demise. Colonel Cannon goes down to Warning Shot, and Warning Shot sets up the ace in the hole, but it will not take down Hot Beam Cannon, but that's going to be now 2 members down for the side of Monkeys in Training, and just like that, Hextech Ultimatum will come and pop to Dusky's GA, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to get out of this, and he will not. Warning Shot will pick up a killing spree. So that's gonna be 2 members now down for the side of MIT. I don't know if they're gonna be able to hold on to this one, as 5 members from Land Sharks are here, and I think they might be sending us to a game 3. Charm connects on the Hot Beam Warner. Hot Beam Warner will go down just like that. Aardvark will get clunked in the head by the horn, and he will go down, and just like that, going into game 3, Land Sharks will take down MIT in game 2.
Well, that game was definitely a skirmish all the way through. Almost guerrilla warfare coming out of MIT, Land. And now we're into game 3 as Land Sharks managing to get that pick onto Shiny Shadow Gear, which just snowballed the rest of the fights into their favor for that final push.
Absolutely, and it really did. I said Shiny Shadow Gear had been playing so well up to that point, putting in so much damage, but getting caught out in that situation. I believe he might have been either on a ward and didn't realize it, or that was just a really, really nice Aqua Prison there from Temeriere. But either way, it spells doom for Monkeys in Training, and Land Sharks, a great way to bounce back. They did. After losing game 1 in such a snowbally fashion, to kind of grind out a second win, or a first win in game 2, that's going to be really, really big for them, especially going into the momentum heading into game 3. And just like that, guys, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break before we get into game 3. So sit tight. We got a good one here coming up. Monkeys in Training, Land Sharks, ODL, Bronze Silver Division, heading to game 3. And we are back. ODL Season 3 opener, Bronze Silver Division. Aaron Pro Dougie Johnson here. Duckham Ruahi Davy and Ruahi. We are back once again for this game. This game's going to be game 3. We've already seen these teams twice, Land Sharks and Monkeys in training. What are we looking for in game 3 here?
Well, we're looking for a tremendous fight here in Game 3. Game 1 was a very well played match done by Monkeys in training, but Land Sharks Game 2, bringing it back, they were just feeling out what Monkeys in training was capable of in Game 1. And now that they have a win for Game 2, here comes Game 3. Both teams are going to be showing what they've learned of the opponents. They're going to be bringing out all the stops on their strategies, and they're going to clash head to head right now, right here on the Summoner's Rift.
And one bit of housekeeping we have to say here: mid lane is not going to be in the roster here for Land Sharks. He was there the first 2 games. Mid lane actually really put in a lot of work on that Ari in game 2, but because of some kind of connection issues, mid lane's not going to be in this game. So Dracana goes from the top lane down into the mid lane, and Calcifer, one of their subs, will come into the top lane. A little bit of Swobro action possibly for the side of Land Sharks here as these bands start to come in early. Is that are you looking for some Swobro action, Ruahi?
Swobro?
Cloud9, Golden Glue, and Senskare and the Swobros. I was just saying maybe get a little bit of supportal combat here, getting some of the 2 coming in, maybe giving some spark to the Land Sharks in this game 3. So Swobros is what they call themselves. So I was saying maybe a possible Swobro sighting here for the Land Sharks, but it's okay. But first off, Monkeys in training will go ahead and lock in that Karma pick, which is something we haven't seen yet in the series.
Well, out of all of the supports, Karma is generally considered one of the weaker ones. She doesn't bring any sort of like healing or resistances to her team. She does bring a team-wide shield potentially if she casts a mantra beforehand. And it also gives a small speed boost. But outside of that, she doesn't bring a huge amount of utility. Even her snare is telegraphed. She has to stay within range. It's much like a Morgana ultimate, only she can only get one person. Now, Dracana being in the mid lane might actually be a boon for the Land Sharks, as it appears to be his main role. He seems to be off-rolling in the top lane and was letting mid lane take over the mid lane. I couldn't get away from it this game. But Dracana is now in the mid lane, possibly his strongest lane, as he has a huge amount of experience on a lot of mid lane champions. So we're going to be seeing that potentially in the mid lane. Now, against Colonel Cannon, I don't know. This is somewhat of a mix-up here. And we're seeing new information coming in because they're using an E-sub. The E-sub was not here the previous 2 games. So Monkeys in training, whatever possible strategy they had come up with against the Land Sharks might be thrown into whack now because of mid lane leaving. So they have Dracana in the mid lane and an E-sub sitting in the top lane.
Absolutely. And as we start to see some more of these picks come in, Monkeys in training will put that Teemo into the hands of Shiny Shadowgear. We're seeing him play now 3 times in a row. So Teemo, who's done well. I said Shiny has played well on this Teemo early on, but really kind of fallen off, especially in that game 2 team fights late game, and costing his team the win there after getting caught with the Aqua Prison coming in from Temeraire's Ari. So we got to keep an eye right there on Shiny Shadowgear's. Oh, I'm sorry. Aqua Prison on Nami. There we go. The mermaid. That's what I meant. So we got to keep an eye on Teemo, Shiny Shadowgear in that top lane as the rest of the bands come in. And again, they will go ahead. Land Sharks will ban away that Swain. So we saw Swain in game 1. We won't see him again the rest of the series.
And they banned Leona again. They don't want to deal with that hard engage. They don't want to deal with that long range engage. We see a Shyvana. They're banning a lot of junglers. Kha'Zix, Kayn have been banned all 3 times. We're seeing Shyvana banned, and Mythic picking up Lee Sin. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to see a few Lee syndromes happen in this game.
I always want to see Lee syndromes. I even when a Lee Sin's not in the game, I like to see Lee syndromes. So that's what I'm definitely looking for. Mystic, I gotta see at least 3, buddy. I want to see them. I don't care if they come into kills or not. I gotta see 3. I mean, when you see that Lee Sin pick, that's the first thing that comes into your mind. That aggression, that take the Q all the way again, and then maybe get caught underneath the tower or two.
So, looking at the team comps that are sort of unfolding for either side, as we're seeing the Fizz locked in for the side of MIT, right? On the side of Land Sharks, they're coming out with a very strong sieging composition again, very strong zoning composition. You have the Lux, who's able to set up these zones of control, able to capture people who get a bit out of Caitlyn, who's able to set up a siege line using her traps, able to poke down towers, and they also have Braum, who's able to set up a defensive line for Lux and Caitlyn. Now, they do have a bit of a hard time when it comes to potential engage, as we do see the Gnar locked in. It's sort of telegraphed. It's hard to get off because of the timing that's required. You need that rage bar filled. The enemy will see the rage bar filled. They're not going to let you get the rage bar engage most of the time, usually. But that's their real form of engage. Outside of that, it's mostly pseudo engage. Lee Sin, if he doesn't do a Lee syndrome but does a Lee Sin engage, it could be an engage, but we might see a more assassin-y Lee Sin coming out of here, as they want to get the flow of the game going into their side. Now, on the side of MIT, talking about flow of the game, you're dealing with Fizz, you're dealing with Xin Zhao. These are heavy flow champions. They need to get kills, they need to get pressure, they need to get forward into the game, and once they start the ball rolling, it's all downhill from there. But if they fall behind, all of a sudden you're pushing this boulder up a hill. You're almost like that guy from, I think his name was Tartarus. He's in Hades. He's pushing a rock up.
No, and I think so. And I think when, like you said, pushing the rock up a hill a little bit here, you look at so many of the different, and we talked about it before, because MIT has such a forward going comp, there's only going to be so much they can do if they get behind. So although Aardvark is on this jinx, it is gonna has to be a huge early game coming in for the side of Monkeys in Training for them to get ahead and be able to snowball things into their favor. And one of the things I want to also point out is the fact that Tindusky, we've seen him on Graves across the board, and right now he's not on the Graves. He's going to be on the Jin Zhao as we get ready to get onto the Rift here. As again, both teams are kind of setting up battle lines, but we have to see how MIT is going to be able to, have that advantage, find those advantages in the early game, and snowball, like you said, that big boulder down the hill.
So I think Tedusky picked the Xin Zhao for a very specific purpose. When it came to the Graves, he was dealing a lot of damage. He was all over the map. But when it came to closing out kills, he didn't have any CC to really do that, any sort of sticking pressure to do that. He relied on his teammates in order for him to be able to apply all of that damage. Now, when it came to game 2, Land Sharks was playing much safer. Tedusky wasn't able to get off as many ganks as he was in game 1, and so his effectiveness had gone down. Now, he's on Xin Zhao. He's a much more aggressive champion. He's able to do ganks even by himself. He deals damage, he has CC, he has sticking power. He doesn't even need anybody else to help him out. And when it comes to him doing these self ganks, his teammates helping him out is just icing on the cake. And he's even able to go in, invade onto Mythic, and potentially get kills there. Now, however, it's also more dangerous on Xin Zhao because Xin Zhao doesn't have any ways out of a fight after he engages outside of his ultimate. And his ultimate only disengages as Tedusky is going on to Mythic right here.
Yes, he is, and Mythic looks like he's in trouble. Will Ward hop away, and just like that, they will be able to pick up the Wolves. Tedusky will, but it's that just as soon as that comes in, a flash comes in from Aardvark down in the bot lane as Temerier gets in onto the Jinx, and Aardvark has to go ahead and expend that flash as Tedusky is still here, but he will get rooted up. Now Tedusky might be in no man's land. Good knockup from Mystic, but Mystic will take the hop over to the blue buff, but I think it will end Tedusky's life. Oh no, great play to get over to the Scuttle Crab, and I think just like that, no, right there, Mystic with the flash Q will pick that up, but the fight may not be over. His Colonel Cannon will drop the Ignite, and Mystic will tick down. Early fights coming in from both teams as First Blood goes over to the side of Land Sharks.
So all in all, I think that trade went in favor of Land Sharks. They got the First Blood, but more than just the First Blood, they got the assist on that First Blood as well. Now Riot had reduced the gain value of gold from the First Blood, from assisting, not on First Blood, but assists only give like 40% gold. It no longer scales with shutdown anymore. But it's still gold that went up in smoke for the side of Monkeys in training. They did not get an assist, so that actually put Tedusky slightly behind the Lee Sin, who got the First Blood. He got his main wolf stolen from him, but he made up for it in gold value by getting that First Blood. And Dracana has the CS lead. He's got an assist now, which about evens out, or actually still gives a slight advantage. No, it about evens out what's happening in the mid lane.
And in the mid lane, we see Mystic go in potentially for another gig. Sonic Wave, I do not believe connected there, but Temerier looks like he'll get rooted up in the bot lane as both laners are starting to put in damage, and Mystic is looking for these early ganking paths as he's roaming down now to the bot lane, potentially looking for something here.
So Tedusky wasn't exactly wrong trying to find that fight onto Mythic early on, but Lee Sin has early disengage by using his dashes to get away. He ward hopped away. It was very easy for him to get away, and once Tedusky had burned his dash, he didn't have any way to follow up on to Mythic. And so despite you being a strong early level fighter who's looking for kills and all that, it's very tough to get onto such a mobile champ like Lee Sin.
Absolutely, and I think Tedusky bit off a little bit more than he could chew there because he was able to knock Mythic off of the wolf camp, take that wolf camp for himself, but he really wanted that kill, and just because of that greed, it ended up costing him his life. As he even gets pinged out here on this side of Land Sharks. They see him on about 2 wards that they have in the river, so that bot lane is going to be pretty safe as they push in further in on the Hot Bean Water and Aardvark. But in the top lane, oh no, it looks like Khalifa will get into this game, but no, that's not what he wanted to do. Shiny Shadow Gear will pick up another kill as Mythic is here. Will go ahead and connect onto the Sonic Wave, but it will not be enough. Heal was burned, however, by Aardvark, but in the top lane, the First Blood, or sorry, not a First Blood kill, but another kill will go over to the side of Monkeys in Training, and Shiny is off to a good start again on this team up.
Calcifer picking off just a bit more than he could chew. The harassment from Shiny and Calcifer was about even up to and until that engage, but Teemo had gotten the blind onto Calcifer, and that was mitigating a lot of the damage when he was going in for that fight. Now,
oh no, Tedusky again looking like he bit off more than he can chew. Will get rooted up, and just like that, Sonic Wave will connect, and Mythic again kicks out the enemy jungler.
so it's all well and good to go and steal an enemy camp, but if you hand over a kill for the camp and you don't even manage to take all of the minions in it, you're just siphoning over more gold to the enemy. Unfortunate, but true.
Absolutely, and you see Colonel Cannon on this Fizz taking a lot of damage coming in from Jacana in this mid lane. But Mythic, you gotta be excited about the start that he's gotten off to. 2 kills here, both on the enemy jungler as he's caught Tedusky out, as you said, in his jungle. And now with this Lee Sin, you're gonna want to continue that that early game pressure that you've really gotten here, as Aardvark's getting teed up a little bit here down in the bot lane. Oh no, 90 caliber net gets rooted up. Warning shot does, and warning shot will have to eat it ignite. I don't know. Flash coming in from hot being water. Good side step coming in from warning shot, but warning shot looks like he will go down. Aardvark picks up one, and Temerier will have to go ahead and leap out of the way. But good kill going over to the side of Monkeys in Training.
Really well done by Hot Bean Water, zoning off warning shot so that he couldn't continue running back to his tower, using that empowered Q, allowing Aardvark to actually pick up that kill. They know they need to get these kills onto their carries. They know they need to start siphoning that gold, getting back into this game. Their gold bet difference is negligible at this point, but it's about a 600 gold difference spread across the team. Now, up in the top lane, the death that Calcifer had against Shiny might not actually matter right now, as he's showing about a 30 CS lead. Now, the minions still have to go to tower, but look at that harass coming out of Calcifer.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for the beehives that Shiny has put up in the top lane, it might have been curtains for the little Yordle there. But we see a roam start to come up right now, coming in from Colonel Cannon. Colonel Cannon on his Fizz will get spotted out by a ward, so I think Calcifer will be okay in this top lane. And just like that, the roam is all for naught coming in from Colonel Cannon.
So as the game is calming down a bit when in these early fights, we see an Ocean Drake up again. Now you have a Lux, a Caitlyn, a Gnar. This is again a sieging team comp. They're gonna want that Ocean Drake. Now the Lux here is in a very dangerous position.
Yes, she is. I believe she took the blast cone over, so she hasn't been spotted out, as Aardvark will have to flash away. Dracarier is getting locked up too, but will get rooted here. Level 6 is in. Oh, knocked into the light. Jakara will pick up another kill, and it looks like it'll be a double kill coming in for this mid laner. So that's going to be 2 kills now for Landsharks.
That was an interesting team fight, and one that went very, very much in favor of Landsharks there, managing to kill 2 people for nobody. And unfortunately, they're not able to translate this into a dragon, as Colonel Cannon is nearby. I don't know why they're scared of him at this point. He does have his ultimate up, and maybe they don't want to deal with Dragon beating on them at the same time, but they knew that he had no vision because they have that pink ward in the Dragon Pit, but they all decided to back off despite being very healthy.
And definitely, that is something that you would have thought that they were going to go for, but maybe a more of a conservative call in for the side of Landsharks here in this game 3. So when you look at Dracana right now, 2-0-2 after making the trip into the mid lane after playing the first 2 games in the top lane, and it seems like really he hasn't missed a beat as a mid lane, as you said before, a mid lane player himself, and 2-0-2, you can't really ask for a better start than that on this Lux.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're facing a Fizz, you need to get ahead of him and stay ahead of him. If he starts to, and Fizz is so dangerous, if he starts to make a comeback, he starts snowballing really fast. And it's almost impossible to stop a Fizz from getting kills, but if you manage to do that, it means a lot.
Absolutely, and we see Calcifer up in this top lane again, going in. Will hop right onto oh no, it does not matter. He hopped onto a huge little beehive there, but it didn't matter. He will go ahead and take down Shiny there as a fight again breaks out in the mid lane. Dracana looking for more. We'll get the flash out of Kennel Cannon, and just like that, Mystic will go ahead and secure another kill on the Tedusky. That's 3 kills now for Mythic, and Mythic has killed Tedusky now 3 times. as the fights look like they might continue. Hot Beam Water is here in this bot lane on the warning shot, as warning shot takes a little bit of damage. Mythic is here now, will ward hop over, will connect as the Glacial Fissure knocks up both members. Hot Beam Water is ticking down to the ignite, but I don't think he will go down as Lux throws over some damage in. Final Spark is not available in for Dracana, but that is going to be another good team fight win for the side of Landsharks.
And we're seeing a Dragon Ping come out here. Now, Hot Bean Water and Aardvark are still around to start throwing down some poke. Tedusky is still here. He's taking out a ward. It looks like they're going to have to hand over this dragon, though.
Oh no, Hot Bean Water, just like that, will give up another kill to the side of Dracana. Salt in the wounds as Landshark picks up the dragon as well. Right now, this Lux is rolling 3-0-3.
Oh, that was unfortunate. You're sitting on Vision on the other side of the dragon wall, and you get caught by a Lux Q. Ooh. It hurts. It hurts. Her combo hurts.
Yes, it does, especially when you have 3 kills on your side. Dracana right now showing why that light binding and into that final spark combo that you talked about is so strong coming in for this mid laner right now. So as we look across the board, about a 3K gold lead for the side of Landsharks. Coming back after dropping game 1, they really kind of flipped this series on its head. Played so well in these last 2 games, and it's showing here. But when you look at Monkeys in Training, they've shown that they can stall out a game a little bit, and they've also showed that they can snowball. But with this comp, Ruahi, are they going to have any hope of being able to climb back into this game?
Well, they're going to have to grit their teeth and get through this first little bit. Unfortunately, they're too far behind to sort of force things anymore. They need to start finding people out of position. I want to see Tedusky heading up to the mid lane, actually. We need to see Colonel Cannon, despite being behind Dracana, he is ahead about 15 CS, but he's down 2 kills, 3 assists. Now, I want to see him go...
Oh, Colonel Cannon, as soon as you call it, Mythic is here. We'll connect onto the Sonic Wave. Is that going to be a Lin Syndrome? No, it will not. He will not go ahead and take the Sonic Wave. But as we look, that is showing good pressure in the mid lane, letting Colonel Cannon know that he is still around and keeping his mid laner, who is fed, safe. Tedusky is down in this bot lane, however. So I don't know if he is potentially looking for a game, but I think he's been pinged out by Warning Shot into Mariere. So I think they know that he is going to be there.
So, back onto the point of going to the mid lane, I need to see Tedusky heading there. They have strong engage. Dracana can't really get away from it if he only gets his Q onto one of them. What we need to see is Colonel Cannon initiating with his ultimate, followed by Tedusky following up with his own dash, and then Dracana should be dying shortly afterwards.
Final Spark did that knock, but down in the bot lane, Mariere will go ahead and knock up one in Hot Bean Water. It's going to go down just like that, and it is going to bring out a pause. That was so amazing of a setup there coming in for the side of Landsharks. You go into Mariere with the flash, Glacial Fission gets the knock up as the Sonic Wave from Mythic connects straight into the headshot for Warning Shot. I don't think you could set it up any better than that.
Oh, no. No. You most definitely can't. The only possible better setup would have been like maybe a Morgana Q, but you're dealing with a Braum. Braum's bringing his own set of mechanics here. Now, I want to touch on each lane in particular. Well, maybe not each lane, but let's go to the top lane again. We've talked about the top lane so much each game, and we've talked about how Shiny seems to either go even or behind in CS over the course of the past 2 games, and this game seems to not be any different. But this time, the difference is absolutely enormous. It's about a 40 CS difference. They have the same kills to deaths because they both solo killed each other. But it looks like Calcifer, just with the dominating performance up in the top lane here, and Gnar is still very safe. He's a tough cookie to crack and gank for when you're talking about Tedusky. Now, Tedusky could still gank Gnar, but he needs to wait for Gnar to initiate or burn his jump away from Shiny.
Oh no, Kettle Cannon looks like he will go down again to another 1v1. Dracana in this mid lane right now is putting in so much work. As Mythic looks like he's found Aardvark out. He will go ahead, try and get the crippling strike. Oh, good kickback insect going right back in. Although he takes the Sonic Wave into the minions, but he's hitting minions as well. But he will go ahead and be able to pick up that kill onto Aardvark, as Land Sharks will also take down the first turret of the game. Mythic is all over the map right now.
Now, do you think that was BM or was he misclicking there? I want to go with BM. You know, let's say
I would have loved for it to have been a BM. I can't lie to you.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll say it was good BM.
I think good BM is always the best way to go for a situation like that. As we start to see across the map, Tedeschi maybe looking for something in the top lane. This has been the first time he's been off of the grades, and it's really showing. In the first 2 games of the series on the grades, he was able to really kind of dictate a lot of the flow of the game, especially in game number 1, where he was able to speed that game up in favor of Monkeys in Training. But MIT right now, their jungler looks a bit lost. 0-3-0 right now on the Xin Zhao. Hasn't been able to get a lot of the things that, you know, gave them success in game 1 going in game 3 here on the Xin Zhao, and it's really shown as he's down 0-3 to Mythic's 4-1-3 Lee Sin.
Well, things might not be out for him yet. Now, the bottom lane, again, is very dangerous for him to come across. He's got Jinx, he's got Karma on his side. It's not a whole lot for him to go off of when you're facing a Braum Caitlyn, a very safe, a very controlling bottom lane. Now, they do answer the tower that was taken from them with a tower of their own. It's not First Blood Tower, but it's something. Rift Herald is on the field, has been up for quite some time. There's about 3 minutes left on it before that finally goes down. Now we're seeing some posturing here by Mythic, and it looks like they're making a play for it despite being spotted out by the Scuttler.
But I think even in spite of the Scuttle Crab being there and being in favor of MIT, there's not much else they can do. Shiny Shadow Gear is here, and as you start to see Hot Bean Water and Tedeschi start to roam up as well, but Dracana is gonna be there as well too, and that's gonna connect onto Unstoppable. As you get Califer with a great dart into the wall. We'll pick up 2, and that's going to be another double kill as we look down in the bot lane. And that's going to be a rampage for Mythic as well. Right now, Land Sharks is all over the map, and that's going to be 4 kills to their side.
So this is the problem when you pick such a flow-heavy team comp as MIT has, and if you get just a bit behind, there's that rock that you're starting to push uphill, and unfortunately, once you start cresting, it falls right back down. Now this cost them 3 towers in the mid lane. It might cost them the mid tower as Rift Herald is still up, gonna get another slam.
Oh my goodness, Dracana, make it stop. As the insect comes in, will kick Shiny back into the rest of the team as Mythic will somehow survive. A killing spree now for Califer. And it looks like as Super Mega Dash Rocket comes in, it will eat up another as Chum in the Waters is there as well. But Colonel Cannon does not look like he's gonna be long for this world. He is not. He's gonna go down. Awkward. Aardvark desperately trying to get something here, but it's not going to matter, and that's going to be a quadra kill going in for Dracana.
And Shelly is still alive. This might cost them a Nexus tower.
Yes, it might. I don't believe Shelly's going to be dancing tonight, however, but it will at least be 1 Nexus tower. Dracana is putting out so much damage. Calcifer is here as well as they try and put in more, and Hot Bean Water is not going to last in this fight either. And just like that, a 10-0-6 Dracana is leading the way for Land Sharks.
And suddenly what was just a small lead turns into just under a 10k gold lead in the side of Land Sharks. Absolutely monstrous. Just before 20 minutes into the game, Mountain Drake is up, Baron is going to be spawning, and they have the team comp that is just able to run them over in these team fights because they have the flow of the game so heavy into their favor. Xin Zhao has no tank stats. He built pure fighter, and so he's going to get absolutely exploded when he gets caught by any of the CC that is just perforated into the side of Land Sharks.
Absolutely, and that's something that you have to be careful of. I don't know how much MIT can really stall this game out, maybe get to a situation where Jinx and where Fizz can get to that great late game damage that we see, but right now they're so far behind in gold. And when you look at the damage that Dracana is pumping out on this 10-0-6 Lux right now, there's not much else that you can really look for the side of MIT, as the Dragon will also go over to the side of Land Sharks. And after game one, and in the stop that we saw MIT put on Land Sharks in game one, for this team to come back and really have this kind of fight in them, it's really been something to watch.
I really wish Lee Sin had followed that cue. I don't feel like that would have been a Lee Syndrome one that time. They saw that there was the Fizz and Jinx in the mid lane, quote unquote, as they were actually in their base clearing mid lane minions. At most, he would have been running into Teemo, and he already saw there was a Karma. Now, he had Dracana backing him up there. I think it would have been fine for him to have followed that cue. Now, they have Calcifer all the way down in the bottom lane, but he has Teleport up. They've got super minions into the mid lane, and now they're starting Baron. This is a very good call. I don't know about starting Baron so soon, with the super minions so far away from the base, but it's working out for them.
Oh yes, it is. A Dracana will lock up two. The final spark will not kill, but it looks like as Shaman of Waters will not miss. This is still a very early 22-minute Baron, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to take down. But in the bottom lane, Calcifer did take down the turret, but the Baron does not get stolen over. It will be picked up by Mythic as Mythic takes down Tedusky, and this may be the ending here for the side of Land Sharks. They do have the Baron.
Oh.
Mythic will flash forward, hit the Sonic Wave, and just like that, take down Aardvark for his 7th kill of the game. And just like that, at the snap of the fingers, Ruahi, we got 3 members down for the side of MIT as super minions and Baroned up super minions, that is, pour into the base of Monkeys in Training. We got all 5 members of the side of Land Sharks here. As Mythic going for a few style points, and it will cost him his shutdown gold life here. But it doesn't matter. Temerier are here as the members from Monkeys in Training start to come back up. I don't know if they're going to be able to end, actually. Warning Shot gets a rampage kill onto Colonel Cannon, and I don't think he's going to be able to last long in this fight, and neither will Shiny Shadow Gear. Tedusky goes down again. It's a double kill as the Flash Gnar comes in. Calcifer picks up a triple kill, and that's going to be the end of the game, with Land Sharks taking the series 3-1. 2-3. Hyper. That was such a great series. 2-1. Thank you, Ruahi. I can't count numbers
so
or not by strength. But that is going to be the series, 2-1 in favor of Land Sharks. And we talked about it there at the beginning. Monkeys in Training had to go ahead and get the game going early in their favor, and they weren't able to do that. And we saw what the result was.
So Land Sharks, they found a strategy that was setting Monkeys in Training back so far. They realized Monkeys in Training, they wanted to have these split push team comps. So Land Sharks, they came out with these siege team fight team comps. There were perfect counters to the Monkey in Training strategy, and it really came to a head as Game 2, they were trying to get a feel for what their own team comp was capable of. Game 3, they put it to paper, or they put it to action. Went from paper to action, and the strategy held.
Absolutely, that strategy held, and it really showed. And I said, kudos to Land Sharks for being able to bounce back after getting absolutely snowballed in Game 1 to come back in Game 2 and Game 3 and go ahead and get that, I guess, reverse sweep, we can call it, although it's only 3 games here. But to be able to come back, take the notes off of the Game 1 loss and come into these last 2 and really play through their own win conditions. They were able to dictate a lot of what they wanted to do based off of their team picks and their team comps, and they were able to come in and really stop Monkeys in Training from doing what they want to do, especially in Game 3, where they took Tedusky completely out of the game. I mean, he had been playing so well on the Jace. They put him on a pick. The Jin Zhao goes 0-7-1, really not able to do much, gets picked off twice early in the jungle, and then Mythic really just started that snowball rolling. Same thing with Dracana, moving from the top lane down into the mid lane.
Oh, absolutely. Now, as for MVP, I don't really want to give it to one person in particular. We saw a great showing out of everybody on the side of Land Sharks, but and despite the score not exactly showing it, I want to give it over to two people, Warning Shot and Temerary. The All of the flow from all three games all started in the bot lane, and Warning Shot and Temerary in game one, they tried to mitigate it a lot. They weren't able to, but game two, game three, those two were able to get things rolling. They got the ball rolling. They managed to get their tower. They rotated mid. They helped out with dragons. They rotated up to like top lane. They were doing everything by the book. They got an objective, they moved on to the next one. They got a bit ahead, they applied pressure. And it was just very textbook. I want to give MVP to the bottom lane and not to any one person in particular.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be great coming in for Land Sharks. Good congratulations to Warning Shot and to Marier. They're picking up those MVPs because they did. They were solid throughout the entire series and really set the tone for Land Sharks. Monkeys in training, they came out in game one and they put in a lot of damage, but they weren't able to duplicate that success in the following games in the series. So that's going to be the first game of the bronze silver division going over to Land Sharks for series, I should say. And I believe, Ruahi, that's going to be our time.
It is, unfortunately.
Well, for everyone over here, thank you for watching, guys. ODL League Season 3 Overdrive League here. Bronze Silver Division. Congratulations to the Land Sharks. I'm Aaron Pro Doggy Johnson, along with my color caster, Duckham Ruahi Davey. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back real soon.